Okay, this is the final video in the series, Healing Codependency and Decentering Work. And I'm here at the event I've been talking about since I started this series, that I was really determined to reframe how I look at work and why I felt like codependent when it comes to employers. And I am here and I feel great. I am so happy to look at you and be able to say, I feel great. And if I had known, and if I could have told myself 2 years ago, you're going to be okay. I wish I could have told myself that. It would have helped me understand that what I was going through was an important journey, and I was going to come out on the other side with new perspectives, better than ever. So I've been contemplating, what would I tell myself a year or two ago when I was really in the midst of this really painful dynamic in a work environment that was so new and uncomfortable for me. There was so much to learn. I was really out of my element. And then on top of it, I had a supervisor that I just reacted to really intensely negatively. It just really overwhelmed my nervous system, and I kind of became a different person and was generally just anxious most of the time. And this was new for me, but I also think I'd had some coping strategies that were holding things together, and this needed to come to the surface to really excavate some of these things that really needed to be excavated. So I have a list of about 5 things that I would tell myself that I hope is helpful for anybody in the midst of anxiety or a hard time, that really helped me to get where I am today. So number 1, if you can, remove the biggest pain point. So if I could go back, I would leave that role, because I don't think ultimately things didn't start to get better until he was removed from the situation, because the pain was so acute and fresh all the time that I didn't feel safe enough to get into the healing. Now, ultimately, I wouldn't change anything because he was the catalyst for this transformation. But I think if he hadn't ultimately left, I would still be in it. I do. And I wish I would have known when it was time to call it and say, remove this, and we can still heal and figure out why this happened, to not get back here again, because there's always going to be challenging people. And the point is not to avoid all of that. But I think removing that sooner than I did would have accelerated the healing. Number 2 is I found the idea of minimalism very comforting. When you are anxious and there is chaos in your environment and you are overbooked, your schedule is full, you're running from thing to thing, you don't have downtime in your schedule, your space is chaotic and cluttered, you feel like there's a lot of shoulds in your life, things you should be doing, but yet all you want to do is curl up under the blankets and heal. And I was afraid to do that because I thought, I'm just going to be in this forever. I'm going to give in to this and I'm never going to heal. And this is going to become my new identity. But I found it really comforting to listen to videos about what's really important in your life. What are all these things that we feel like we need to be better, to have more, to be happy? And really, it's so simple. And these videos that people do, this like ASMR version of minimalism, where they're like chopping food slowly on a cutting board and they're out in their gardens. And obviously it's very romanticized, but you can romanticize your life. You can simplify and start to enjoy the smallest things. And even if I wasn't actually making changes, just watching those videos really soothed my nervous system. The second is knowing when it's time to go deep. And this is the third, the time to go deep and time to balance that out with some laughter and joy and not constantly be focused on healing. It's easy when you're in this, like, I need to figure this out and heal and get better, to just constantly be in this place of self-improvement. And you need joy in your life. You need joy. And I found I got into this rhythm when I was really aware of how different things made me feel, that I would in the morning when I'm getting ready, I love makeup tutorials, get ready with me, self-care rituals, hygiene tips, like all of that in the morning in my get ready space. I love it. In the afternoon, after a long work day, or on the way to work, I love music that sets the tone, that gets me pumped or relaxes me. On the way home from a work day, I like comedy, like stand-up comedy, something that makes me laugh. And then as the evening, starts to wind down, I like some entertainment at night, so a movie, something that's just escapism. And then during my bedtime routine, and once I'm in bed, I'm listening to meditations, channelers, something more like mindset before I go to sleep. And that was the routine and the flow that seemed to work for me. And on that note, like curating the algorithm of your life. You are going to see more of what you put your attention on, and the people you surround yourself with and their beliefs are going to affect your reality, because life really is an algorithm. And I know this because when I was anxious and everything worried me and stressed me out, things would go wrong all the time, or I would perceive them as worse than they were. I'm at this event now, and like I went to go pick up my print jobs and some of them didn't get printed. That would have set me off before, like, oh my gosh, and not set me off on somebody, but internally like, oh my gosh, I gotta fix this. Something went wrong, and now I'm just no worry whatsoever, gonna fix it. So curating that, I think that was one of the reasons being around this particular supervisor was triggering to me, because everything felt like life or death, and I entrained to that vibe. And I do that more when it's an employer, because I feel like I'm supposed to and train to their vibe. So that was a big part of this journey, is how to create your own reality of what's true for you. And multiple things can be true at the same time. I was trying to search for answers about, is he a jerk? Is he crazy? Is it me? That was a big question. Is it me? If I was more healed, could I handle this? Would I look at this differently? It doesn't matter. Multiple things can be true. And in this, knowing when it's time to heal and go deep, I would tell myself, I didn't realize how unskilled I was at feeling my feelings. I thought I was good at this. I have a crying playlist. Like, I know when it's time to have a good cry. Have you ever woken up, and this is particularly poignant, say like if you've gone out drinking and you wake up and you're like, oh, and you feel that shame spiral. What did I do? What did I say? That's so embarrassing. Oh my God. And I didn't realize how hard I worked to push those feelings away, because I didn't want those to be true in my reality. So there's this like nuance here, this duality of, I don't want to sink into those feelings because they'll become true, but learning how to let them arise and really examine them in a safe space and say, what am I making this mean? What if this was true? What is the story I'm telling around this? And just feel it. When did I first feel this? It is going to be something that happened to you when you were young, that something similar happened thematically, and it's going to feel familiar to you. And if you can sit with it, you might have that exact memory or just remember the tone of it. And then I swear it will start to shift. If you sit with it, no matter how scared you will feel it start to lift and transform. And I've done this at 3 a.m. when I thought it was hopeless. I'm never going to go back to sleep. I'm having these thoughts. And I just shifted into peace when I just let them come up. Game changing. And then once you start to feel better, say you've been working through some of these things or just vibing in this way, then you start to have access to different frequencies and not just the fear frequency. You start to tune into gratitude. And again, gratitude was something that stressed me out when I was really not feeling good, because I felt like I did have so much in my life to be grateful for. And I just, that made me feel afraid. Well, if I already am not happy now and I have so many good things in my life, if I lose something, then it's going to really feel bad. And I should be more grateful. And do you feel that frequency? Just gratitude was was hard. And now I feel like the best analogy, I've heard Abraham Hicks said this, I'm sure others say this, is that reality is like tuning into a radio station. There's all these frequencies out there. If you can tune the dial, it's like, ooh, that's the gratitude frequency, and feel that radiate throughout you. And then it starts to, like, you start to exist in that vibe. And then you can tune it to the pleasure frequency. Oh, or just everything feels good and everything is sensory and enjoyable. The fun frequency, the beauty frequency, like they're all very nuanced. And I don't know how I would have explained to myself how to tune into those when I still felt so fractured. But now it's just become, I feel open to all of them and not as afraid of tuning back into the ones that don't feel good. There is a part of me, it's like, I don't want to stay in that one too long. So I'm really conscious of what I'm surrounding myself with and what makes me feel good. And actually going back to like curating what you listen to in your content, is I became really aware of how things made me feel. And for some people, they love reality TV, love Keeping Up with the Kardashians or Selling Sunset. Like that's how they check out and escape. I notice that even if those can be entertaining, I feel like icky. I don't feel good after. And becoming very aware of what leaves me feeling, okay, happy, energized, or lifted, or open to possibility, versus what might be entertaining, like scrolling, but ultimately you kind of feel ugh after. Like that is so important to be aware of that. So that is what I would tell myself. And then I'm also, this is part of the journey, and this is all happening for my benefit to expand. And I can sit here now and look right at you and say, I feel expanded. I feel like something has shifted, and I feel open to, I'm excited about the future. I'm excited about possibilities in each day. And I hope that I want that for you. I hope this feels possible for you. And I would love to hear either your experiences with getting there, or your journey, or feeling stuck. I would love to hear about it. So thank you so much.